Okay, we start today's share with a very heavy heart after the tragedy in Meron last night, and our tefillahs and go out to all the mishpachas, all the chaylim, all the people who are injured, and the niftarim and the mishpachas. And the Torah tells us we daven Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. We always talk about tshuva, svilut, tzedakah, mavir, and Israel gzeira. And I think we all need to focus on that in order to be able to somehow come to grips with such an enormous tragedy that should befall all of Klal Yisrael. So we hope that a little bit the Torah that we'll learn today will be a schus for neshamas and be a schus for refuah shlema for everybody. I also want to make today's shares l'zeich nishmas Rav Yitzchak Itchi Lowenbrun, who's the longtime director of AJOP, the Association of Jewish Outreach Professionals, a Yid, a tzaddik, who dedicated his life to helping other people. The Levi was yesterday, and now we make a schus for his neshama as well. Parshas Emor. So we know that the Torah tells us over and over and over about Kiddush Hashem, about the inyan of Nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael. The Torah tells us, Ushmartem mitzvosai v'asisem ma'asam. You should do the Torah. You should do it. V'lo shem kadshi. You shouldn't be mechal Kiddush Hashem. Nikdashti b'soich b'nei Yisrael ni Hashem mekadishchem. We talk constantly in the Parshas Emor about Kiddush Hashem. We talk about Chil Hashem. Talk about all the achrayus we have to the Rebbeinu Shalom to make a Kiddush Hashem and to make a Chil Hashem. So I saw in Rav Galinsky's Sefer, he talks about a younger man who came to the Chofetz Chaim, and the younger man was very depressed. The Chofetz Chaim said, "Younger man, what are you depressed? You're a good person." So he told him, he says, it says in the Zohar, it says, "Shetayra umitzvos b'loy dechil rechimu." Torah mitzvahs without simcha, happiness, yiras Hashem v'avasai, loy pascha, loy peseches le'ela, it does lo parachas le'ela, it doesn't go up. Einam oilam l'mal, it doesn't go up. He says, here I'm learning, I'm doing all my Torah, I'm learning everything I can, but I can't. Can I say and do yiras Hashem? I don't have the proper yiras Hashem. I don't have the proper avos Hashem. I for sure don't have the dechil rechimu with the joy and the simcha of Torah. I don't have it, and I don't know. I just feel like how can I can't live up to this. I just feel an emptiness. And he brings from the Svarim, from the Sefer Sifsei Kayin that talks about our psukim, and he says a similar theme, that if you're not going to do something, if you're not going to learn Torah with Kiddush Hashem, you're not going to do your mitzvahs with Kiddush Hashem in mind. You do it for other reasons. So basically, he says it doesn't have. So we see this inyan, l'char scary, that all the Torah, all the mitzvahs we're doing, we can't match up. So the younger man tells the Chofetz Chaim, I'm learning, every time I learn this, I get more and more depressed. What should I do? So Chofetz Chaim says, let me tell you a story. He says, before World War I met a baker. And it came to me for a bracha, and the baker was fetching away. He says, it's so hard to be a baker. I stay up a whole night to make my rolls and my challahs and so on. And, and in the morning, the housewives come to buy, and they're looking at, this one is too overbaked, this one is underbaked, this one doesn't look so pretty, and they're fetching away. And I feel so bad, I can't match up to what they want. So he said, the Chofetz Chaim said, okay, I feel bad for you, it's hard. I give you a bracha, you should, do your best you can. Okay. Says the Chofetz Chaim, after World War I started, when the whole world was upside down and there was food shortages and so on, I met the same Yid. And the same Yid tells me, he's smiling and he's happy. I said, what happened to you? Last time you were, it's geschmack, there's no food around. I can't, nobody cares if it's overbaked, underbaked, doesn't look good. Everybody's just running to get bilkelach. Everyone's running to get my baked goods, my bread, my challah. That's it. Nobody cares. All those things don't matter. Said the Chofetz Chaim to this younger man the same thing. He says in the old days when the Torah was the way it should be, the world was the way it should be. So, they look carefully at everybody. Did you do it right? Did you do it with all your, gewaltigness or not? And if you didn't do it, we got a time on you. He says, but now the world's upside down. There's the Haskalah. There's all the other things, the communism, all the other things that are going on now that are taking people's neshamas away from Klal Yisrael. And just whatever you do is so appreciated in Shemayim. It's like during the war, the Bilkalach, the Tchalas, whatever we can get. So there aren't so many people left who are doing what you're doing. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. It's so appreciated in Shemayim. And then he tells another story of a bacher that came from the mirror to ask the Chavetz Chaim in Eitzah. And he got stuck in a snowstorm when he was going, and it was, he spent the whole night traveling, and by the time he got to the Balach Sanya that he had made up to stay with in Radin, he was like totally shot, and he wasn't up to going to the Chavetz Chaim, and the Balabas saw that he was like not in great shape. He said, look, let me give you to eat, let me give you some food, and then in Hashem, in the morning you'll go to the Chavetz Chaim, you'll go with strength, you'll go with Kayach. So the Bacher said, but I didn't daven Marv yet. I'm not allowed to eat, I got to daven Marv. So he says, I'll remind you, don't worry. The main thing is you should eat, and you should have Kayach, and afterwards you daven Marv, and then it'll be good, I'll remind you, don't worry. So Bacher says, okay, I'll daven a better Marv if I'm not, right now I feel like I'm going to faint, so I better eat something. So he eats a meal, and the feels much, much better. And the Balabas remind him, don't forget you got to daven Marv. So he says, okay, you're right. So he says, okay, let me just sit down for a minute first. I'll rest up a couple minutes, I'll daven Marv. So he sits up, he rests, he sits in his chair, he starts to say, V'hu Rachum. He starts to say, Mariv, Arav, he falls asleep. And he doesn't finish Marv. He is so wiped out that in the middle of davening, he literally fell asleep. He woke up the next morning, totally forgetting about it. He davened Shachris, and he goes to Chavetz Chaim. And before he gets to the Chavetz Chaim, when he gets to the Chavetz Chaim, before he can tell him about the Chavetz Chaim, when he wants Chavetz Chaim, says, says, something? In the old days, people used to, everybody went to shul, and everybody had Siddharim, and it was just wonderful, Klapi Maila. And something, if one person happened to get stuck in a snowstorm, and he came late to his balabas, and he had to eat first, and he was really knocked out, and he was tired, and he started to daven Marv, and he fell asleep. No. There's millions of other Marvs out there to make the Rebbeinu Shalom happen. He says the same thing, but now we're in such a tekufa, and a tekufa where the minus is mamish, tremendous. People are nebuch leaving Yiddishkeit in droves. They're falling into all of the isms. They're going away. Every ben Torah, every marv, every kriya shema is so geschmack and so needed and so necessary. Everybody makes a difference. And therefore, said the Chavetz Chaim, don't forget to daven. You missed Marv. So he goes, "Oy, I've missed Marv. You're right." And he went on to daven the second Marv. But the aside is that we live in a tekufa where it's very difficult. We live ourselves in such a tekufa where it's very difficult. And sometimes we get down on ourselves that our avodah isn't so perfect, and what we're doing, and and maybe we're not learning at the level we should be learning, and we're not doing it in the level we should be doing. We should know that when you come to a tekufa like ours, says the Chavetz Chaim, every single mitzvah is precious, every single yid is precious. And that's an enormous lesson that we all have to learn. So we take this to heart, and we tell ourselves that it's a chizuk for all of us to understand that what we do makes a difference. Every yid makes a difference. The Labish is a holfen that we should all be zeicha. There should be no more chas v'shalom tragedy in Klal Yisrael. There should be no more sickness in Klal Yisrael. There should be no more problems in Klal Yisrael. And the Rebbeinu Shem, who loves each and every one of us, should guard over and guide every single one of us. And we should know that every single thing we do for the Rebbeinu Shem makes a difference. So we come now at this tekufa, and we go into Shabbos Kodesh, and we know that we have to do tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, ma'avir, nesraya, hagazera, and Bez Hashem, the Torah that we learn should make all the difference. Have a good Shabbos.